Hello and welcome to the Comedy Slab. I'm Adrian, I'm in the southeast of England. He is Shane in the Midlands, and we've been described as a less sophisticated version of Smashy and Nicey. But I don't think we're actually that good. Anyway, so nice to have you along. We're going to put a comedy on the slab to dissect, see what we make of it. And before we... Oh, let me tell you, it is the East Coast Listening Post. Ignore anything else I might have called it last week. So the East Coast Listening Post, it's on BBC Radio 4 as we speak, available on BBC Sounds, and you could sort of stream it even outside the UK, I believe. But you need to get your kind of window. Anyway, there will be links. Shane always provides a very comprehensive service. He's good like that. Links to where you can find this and all the other deets that you need as well. I suppose it sort of relates reasonably seamlessly to talking about Brit Box, because we're talking about being able to get these programs outside the UK and within the UK and so on, different situation. So Brit Box has been formally announced with a price tag as well. So this is the kind of souped up combined BBC/ITV service, isn't it? A TV service, trying to take on The Weld, or as they call themselves, Netflix. What do you make of it? I mean, we have talked about it before, but now it is sort of made reality, made flesh.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, isn't it? I've lost the price now. Is it $5.99 a month?
Same as basic, bog standard Netflix, isn't it?
Well, the first thing I thought, I don't know actually, because I haven't got any of these subscription things at all. Sorry,
I thought you had a Netflix.
No, I haven't got any of them.
Me neither.
I will buy things because I think that's different. Because like if you and I've subscribed to the only one I've got is Audible, because so you get a credit for an audiobook a month,
right?
Which works for me. I kind of like that one. But other than that, no, I don't have any of those in that. In fact, the only thing I ever had was Sky, and realised that we weren't watching it, so that kind of went for a Richard. And that was gone. No, I was just curious to see this, because I thought, oh, great, this is brilliant, because this is a step closer now to getting rid of the licence fee, which is something I'd love to see. I mean, I'd like to see the BBC services behind a paywall, and you actually paid for what you wanted. Mm-hmm. And then they would be playing on a level playing field with everybody else. I'd like to see the licence fee gone. I think it's outdated. And the first thing Tony Hall, the Director General, says is, politicians would mess with the funding of the BBC at their peril. I bet they're like really frightened. They're thinking, oh God, I won't be able to see EastEnders. You kind of think, get a grip, Tony, and just get a perspective of what you actually do. You're just a broadcasting company. You know what I mean? You're not saving the world or curing cancer. But yeah, so I kind of think, no, this is great, because this will be, I'll guarantee it, this will be the first step in the road to getting rid of the licence fee.
That's interesting, because at the moment, obviously, it's both and, which is, I suppose, for you, the nightmare scenario, that although, of course, you don't have to sign up to BritBox. My question more at the moment, I can see, I hadn't thought of it in those terms, but I can see an argument, although it's quite a complex one, particularly for a radio fan like me, because I think they're possibly some of them the more endangered species. Anyway, the question is...
That'd go to podcast, wouldn't it? I mean, that's the point, is that the BBC are operating as in an outmoded fashion. I mean, that's the point. They're desperately trying to drag everything into their kind of way of operating, rather than any other company would embrace and go, oh, okay, well, radio, that actually, this is going to have to change, and this is going to be on demand, and it's going to be a different thing entirely. Do you know, a bit like commercial radio has done in this country, where, commercial local radio, they just decimated it in a weekend by the look of it, didn't they? But
there's still something we can call live radio or linear radio. Even in the commercial world, they still see the value of that.
But it isn't, is it? It's because essentially it's just like, I mean, commercial radio is just like when they said it was local radio, they go, well, we're playing all the greatest hits in Swindon, as opposed to saying we're playing all the greatest hits today. And you kind of think, well, that's not. There was no local content in that sense.
No, I'm talking about. I'm talking about, I suppose, daytime, certainly peak time, where there's a live person, hopefully still alive, talking in real time and playing out music in real time.
Yeah.
That
but playing a playlist. So it's essentially, it's no different from Spotify, is it? That's where the lines have been blurred for me a little bit. But I mean, I thought the license fee, when the cat got out the bag with BBC Worldwide and the money that they were making there, I thought, well, that's got to be the first step on the ladder, but it wasn't. Then, and perhaps a lot of people don't realise that they've got their finger in channels like Dave and Yesterday, and they earn revenue from all of those, and Gold and UK TV. They're all BBC channels, commercial, that they're clawing money back from those, and they're still not getting the licence fee deducted down. So I'm thinking this, hopefully, now will be the final one where they go, hang on a second, you're like 70% commercial now, and so you're raking it in, you're getting the licence fee, you can't have it both ways. I just love the fact that they're doing it with their fierce rival ITV as well. I think it's brilliant, because that's not going to last, is it?
Well, I don't know. I really don't know. But they're joining forces, because the bigger beast, or beasts, it's not just Netflix now, is it? It's Amazon Studios and help me out. Well, HBO, I suppose, aren't separately HBO in this country, but I mean, these are the giants. The budget of one edition of The Crown, that would keep Radio 3 going for, I don't know, a quarter of the year, or a substantial amount. It's $10 million an episode. There's no way on earth that, any British television...
Does it have to be, though? It's like the Top Gear thing, isn't it? You've got to look at it and go, does it have to be? It costs that amount of money, but does it have to? And that's where they lost their way with Top Gear, wasn't it? They were kind of just... I watched that from a perspective of, having worked in the industry, and I think the budget, the money that they just waste, they get cars and they just wreck them, they throw caravans out of aeroplanes, and then you think, to what end? Come on then, because we've got to get on with the slab.
It is about time, yeah. But your point.
I mean, obviously, I wouldn't subscribe, but I don't subscribe to any of them anyway. Would you? Would you be tempted? Do you think? I mean, I suppose it depends. The killer's going to be content, isn't it? And if they're going to put Only Fools and Horses on, I think they're in for a rude awakening, aren't they? Really?
Yes, and I don't know how much of a market there is for something like picking an ITV show, a Broadchurch, very popular when it first goes out. But do people actually care enough to see it again? I'm sure there's a loyal core audience, no question about that. But it would do 8 million when it went out, first time round. You don't expect anything like that to second time round and to be subscribing to Brit Box necessarily.
So that's a good example there, isn't it? Because how much did that cost an episode to make? And that got that. And that's my point, is that they go, it cost this much to make. Well, don't make it for that much. Make it for less.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a long, complicated argument, but essentially, there is a short version, which is, they end up believing their own hype sometimes and talking their own budgets up. So yes, you're.
And do you want telly to look like film? Or because
there is an expectation now, though, I think. Well, people have got home cinema. I think it's all blurred now. I think if you've got, I'm watching, as you know, and regular listeners will know, I haven't even got a TV yet, and I'm watching on a screen.
And he still buys a license.
Well, yeah. Well,
just so he can tell the bloke in the lift that he's got one.
Well, I have got to be able to look him in the eye.
You're flashing at him.
Stop it. Yes, I'm somewhat compromised every which way, but aren't we all, darling? But I'm watching on a screen approximately the size of an iPhone. No, sorry, exactly the size of an iPhone, minus the edges. And but people with money and proper kit are watching on screens which are, when you sit back in your sofa, they're mimicking cinema-sized screens, making an adjustment for distance and all of that. So I think, in answer to your question, I think, yes, people do expect TV drama to look like film now.
But that isn't what I mean. I mean, that kind of like the whether it's in HD or whatever is one thing, but making it look like film is completely another. And a really good example is Red Dwarf. When I watch Red Dwarf, I don't go, the special effects are rubbish on this. It's nothing like Star Wars, because I have an expectation that it won't be like Star Wars, because it isn't Star Wars. It doesn't have the budget of Star Wars. But that doesn't ruin it for me.
But okay. But I think some people it would ruin it for, and also you're talking about Unless you're talking, unless there are new shows. I've never really followed Red Dwarf.
Yeah, there are.
Right.
They're still making it now. Yeah,
but the new shows will be technically superior to the last ones. I just think that Netflix has inflated expectations technically and creatively. I would think
it's again, it's the BBC argument, isn't it? You know, why you have to pay Gary Lineker however much, how many millions they pay him. You know, because they think that if my son doesn't like Gary Lineker either, if you can hear the screaming.
He's not the only one to scream at Gary Lineker.
You know, if they take Gary Lineker off Match of the Day, nobody will watch it. I mean, for me, it's quite the reverse. I don't watch Match of the Day and wouldn't watch it whilst Gary Lineker was on it because I can't bear the bloke. And you know, his attitude and he's kind of, you know, using his political opinions and swearing on Twitter and all the things that I don't think he should do if he's in the pay of the BBC. But you know, there's this argument. Is a straw man, isn't it? This idea, if we got rid of Gary Lineker, then nobody would watch it. Are you serious? They're watching it for the football, not for Gary Lineker.
Mm. Yeah,
so
I'm not going to
defend
$2 million quid
a year. Stroke.
Yeah.
But anyway,
there's some lazy thinking there, and there
lazy Susans.
Sorry, lazy Susans. We'll get on to it. Very neat. That draws us in because we're slabbing East Coast Listening Post, which is a BBC Radio 4 show, and half the cast, and the cast is only 4 people. If you want to talk about saving money, we're talking radio, and I would think you could make quite a few of these shows on Gary Lineker's wedge. And 2 of the cast comprise Lazy Susan, which is a pairing of Celeste Dring, lovely name in its own way. How could she not be an actress with a name like that? And Freya Parker. So those 2 together are Lazy Susan. And then also David Elms and Nick Mohammed. And you're a fan of him. We'll get on to him in a mo. We've got not 3, but 4 audio clips to look forward to today. Normally it's 3, but we're slabbing 2 shows because they're only 15 minutes long each. And, of course, we're the Comedy Slab, so we're talking comedy here. And it's a lovely send-up, I should say. It's my homework set at the end of last week's show. We take it in turns to set the homework for the following week. And this is one that I chose because I was very impressed by it, having sort of randomly listened to it. Maybe even on linear radio, Grandad. Just switching on that device I still call a radio in the corner of...
Do you listen through your woofers and your tweeters, do you, Grandad?
I've got my bag on my head and my salad dressing, to quote Not the 9 o'clock news from yesteryear. Check with your history teacher if that doesn't make any sense to you whatsoever. So 2 shows. The first of which is about someone who's had a tattoo of the Union Jack flag, as they call it. Now, essentially, the East Coast Listening Post is a beautiful, in my view, we'll find out Shane's view very shortly, but a beautiful send-up of the American style of podcast without being nasty, but so acutely observed that we're gently poking fun at the world's biggest consumer of podcasts, but enjoying the process. So leading into this first cue, let me set up the show, if I can, with my fatigued brain. Right, so this woman, Bella, whose story we followed, she's been kind of cajoled into having a tattoo of the Union flag, or Union Jack, call it what you will, the British flag, such as it still is, as the Union just about holds together. And she's had it on her forehead, so it's very prominent, and probably sort of repenting at leisure, kind of coerced by someone called Harley. So here's the story of how it happened. She was on a holiday, got a bit tanked up, and she wasn't convinced it was the best thing to do, but hey, we don't always do the best thing when we've had a glass of something a bit stronger than perhaps we should have, or 2.
So yeah, I was really umming and ahhing about the holiday. This girl Harley was going, and she was usually the ringleader, but I thought, you know what, it's been 10 years, I've moved on. She'll have moved on. Let's just have a pina colada and a boogie.
Cut to Harley spending the whole vacation trying to get a rise out of Bella.
It was sort of 3 a.m. on the last night, and I'm at the end of my tether. Harley's thrown my shoes in the sea. I'm really sunburnt because she's been replacing my sun cream with just normal cream. It's a shame it took me a full 7 days to come onto that. Anyway, it's late and we walk past a tattoo parlour and everyone's like, shall we? Yeah, let's get one. Cute little Union Jack. Then Harley starts up with oh, Bella won't do it. She never does anything. She's such a wet, on and on like that. And everyone's laughing. And then suddenly I'm in the parlour demanding they do it. And the rest is, well, it's on my face. Anyway, once I pop this powder on, it's all covered. So makeup only took 2 hours today. PB!
Isn't the rule, it's the Union Jack when it's on...
Well, there was
and it's the Union flag when it's at land.
Yeah, and then someone rode back from that in officialdom, and I think it's a free-for-all now. Nobody knows. That's how confused
well, if they
this
rode
country
back
is.
from it, then it wouldn't be at sea anymore, and so it'd be a Union flag
very
again,
good,
wouldn't
very
it?
good. Although if you look at the the Australian Navy flag, it's so confusing. I don't understand it.
Anyway, yeah. Well, so we know what we're talking about. Shall I just be upfront and honest straight away?
Oh yeah. Well, shall we have it in the form of a headline? Your opinion?
Oh my God.
Oh dear.
I spend, whenever we can, we've spent holidays in America. We've been to America quite a few times. And we've done road trips in America from various locations. And to keep you company, very often you'll pop on the radio just to see what's happening, particularly if you work in radio, and see what's happening and all the rest of it. And that was where I came across NPR.
National Public
this really
Radio.
Reminds
Their
me,
equivalent of the
National
BBC,
Public Radio, yeah. Well, it's like the BBC should be, really, in this country. Well,
sometimes they rebroadcast the BBC, so it's very like the BBC.
Yeah, it's like the BBC, but it doesn't cost a fortune. So, but it's got this has got that sound to it. It's got that kind of that NPR sound, what I would call, which kind of makes the hair stand up on the back of my neck a bit like somebody dragging nails down a blackboard. And I kind of wonder whether, because it's kind of that parody, whether you have to engage with what they're parodying in the first place. And it left me cold. The whole thing left me cold completely. Did you laugh much through it?
I don't think it's much LOL. I'm just, I'd say, and I know this sounds very unsexy or very uncomedy slabby, but I really admired the work that's gone into it. But maybe that, I mean, okay, we're possibly not typical listeners in one sense. Just a recap, or for the first time for new listeners, a special welcome to you, and do subscribe. More details at the end of the show. But essentially, we listened the first time like, quote, an ordinary person. That's how I attempt to do it, with no special favours, no stopping, no pausing, no...
I don't put any costume or makeup on or anything. I just listen to it natural.
Well, that's your way.
Naked.
I put lipstick on a pig, but that's another, that's just an obsession of mine as a vegetarian.
Which is why you're banned from all the farms in your area, isn't it, there?
Yes, that's true. That's true. It was a mistake.
And certain branches of Waitrose.
And McFisheries, oddly, which doesn't even exist anymore. I'm banned from shops that don't exist. But essentially, you managed to confuse me successfully. What was I saying? Who am I?
You were talking about what you did with your porcine activities.
Second, porcine or a call sign, one of the two. But anyway, so that's the first listen through. And then the second listen, we're more in comedy slab analytical mode, and start and making notes, and then in my case forgetting all of them, or not being able to read them. Hang on, what have I written there?
Setting fire to them and then flushing them down the toilet.
Yeah, essentially, and no one's worse off as a result, fun enough. But no, I felt they'd done their real load of homework to create a very polished product that is a very faithful, or parody is the word, which I failed to find, but you did there. So I'm not quite clear. You said you need to engage with the original. Of course, yes, you're going to enjoy it more if you know what they're sending up. That's true of any parody, isn't it?
Or if you like what they're saying. I think that's the thing, is that because I hate NPR so much,
right, as
a listen, I just hate the way it sounds.
Oh, well, I wasn't clear from the way you set it up that I thought you were saying that's how the BBC should be. I thought you did say that, and I thought you didn't take offence to NPR.
Yeah, no, I don't like NPR at all. Right. I don't like the way it sounds. I don't like The way that they produce stuff, it's very much like that. And the voice, what did you call it? Is it what does that when people
upspeaking?
Voice,
is it? Oh no,
what?
the vocal fry is the term.
Vocal fry.
That's when they're slightly dehydrated and they talk like that. It all comes from Ira. What's his name? Not Gershwin. Ira Dudar. He's the absolute god for them. It's a bit like, the Spanish people, why they lisp, don't you? You know the story behind that.
Well, supposedly.
Supposedly.
I think that's not true. Is it supposed to be the king spoke with the lisp and everybody?
Well, yeah, I can only that's received wisdom. Whether it's wisdom, I don't know.
Yeah,
but certainly this Ira Glass is a head honcho in American podcasting, and I speak with a forked tongue because I love the fact that they take podcasting seriously, and I must say I also take money off American podcasts. So again, I'm compromised in what I could say, because I do some recording in this country for American and indeed Australian podcasts, and I'm delighted to do it. But nothing is above a critique or two. And yes, they've all followed this vocal fry. So I always want to give them a glass of water and say, I interviewed someone once. It was actually in this country, a British person. I can't name them. But I could hear in rehearsal, as we were taking levels and doing technical checks and so on, he was talking like that, and a really dry voice. And this is an actor.
Ooh.
I offered him water.
Horrible.
He said, no, I'm good, thanks. And there's nothing you can do. I wasn't going to force feed him or force drink him.
No.
But anyway, but that's part of the observation. But can't you find a way of... I don't like everything about NPR, and that makes me enjoy it all the more because it's a send-up of it.
Well, I don't like anything about NPR.
You don't like anything full stop.
No, I don't like anything about NPR. That's there's lots of things I do like, but NPR is not one of them. Doesn't
that mean you can enjoy the send up, because it is very gently, in a British way, saying?
Let me explain. Yeah, let me explain to you another way. Then, if I, which I don't, I'm not a fan of opera. If I watched Jerry Springer the opera.
Yeah.
Which was almost like a kind of faux opera, wasn't it? I suppose in a way.
Stuart Lee's creation, amongst others.
God, it's awful it was. But again, it's still opera, isn't it? So if you watched a stand-up of opera that was still opera and you hate opera.
Well, it's not a send-up. I think that is a send-up of Jerry Springer rather than opera.
Well, all right, not forget that then. But do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Is that if you watched a send-up of opera that was an opera and you hated opera, you still wouldn't. You go, oh, I can't listen to this. I hate opera. So that's how I felt with it. I couldn't get out the traps with it to start with because
right. I managed to find a way of saying yes, I agree with you, because it's a very acutely observed and very subtly, all the upspeaking. You've mentioned the vocal fry. We've heard, or we will hear, a little bit of music, which is typical of the NPR style. Little trinkety, clinky, clunky, blinky, blonky music, and the structure, and all these things don't sound very sexy, but I just think it's marvelously done. They've really, if you think we analyse stuff, they have sat down and they have stopped, started, and made notes, and I just think it's so successfully done. And I'm saddened, frankly. I wasn't sure what your reaction would be. I didn't think it would be quite this unembracing, unwelcoming.
You see, I didn't think, and it's a shame because I think the three of them, there was two women and a bloke. As in terms of artists, I think I could quite like. I didn't like some of the voices they did, because those are the voices, as you say, that they were observing, and then you kind of think, I couldn't. Like the very first voice out the trap sounded like one of the Simpsons to me.
About the sponsorship.
Yeah, I thought, it's just awful.
And it is actually, it's a woman who does Bart Simpson, and it was a woman doing a voice very like Bart Simpson.
Yeah. But
it's a shame you couldn't find a way of enjoying that as a send-up.
Not at all.
I understand your argument. It's just I'm trying to think of a parallel for me. I kind of feel I'm an ally with them. Yes, we agree that these things kind of stick in the craw.
It wasn't, and you said about how well observed. I didn't think it was very well observed, and I didn't think there was anything in there that was. I think it was all very obvious. It's like, later she turns up at a far right rally or whatever, and I just thought, it's just it was just an obvious path to go down. And you said about how well observed it was, and then later on, the character Harley, who's the woman who's been egging this woman on to have the thing done. One of the American reporters said she mentioned how white her teeth were, and I thought an American wouldn't say that. They wouldn't, because I didn't think it was well observed. Do you know what I mean? I thought it was. It wasn't really that kind of the things that they should have picked up on. They didn't, and I don't. But like I say, the people doing it, I kind of think in a different environment, I could quite get on with them if something in something that was funny.
Well, we know you do get on with Nick Mohammed, who we slapped in Party, didn't we? I remember you saying there you didn't feel he'd had the success he warranted.
I still don't. I still think, I don't know what it is with Nick Mohammed, that and I was looking at some articles about him, and it was, this fledgling comedian, he's all set to have a fantastic career. And I mean, he's done all right, but I just, for the talent that the lad's got, I just think he deserves so much more. He really does. I mean, I thought for me, and do you know what? I couldn't recognise his voice when he, and I thought, I know that voice. Who is that? Who is that? Because they do fake credits, don't they, on this as well?
Yeah. Well, of course, it's the voice of Piglet in Christopher Robin, which arguably he's best known for.
That's
in terms of perhaps the
really
numbers of people. Let's hear another clip. So this is the final clip for this first of two shows that we're slabbing. And I should have said, my apologies, but Bella and Harley, as I think you'll have worked out from the first clip, they have history. They go back to university, and Harley was bullying then. And so we're sort of 10 years on. And now we've got Bella, she, of course, of the Union flag or Union Jack tattoo, call it what you will, on her forehead. She's got a chance of I've written down confrontation, but it's more, well, she's hoping it's going to be a resolution, a sort of, or even there's a posh word from my religious youth, restitution. Have you ever heard that? You've got religious history. When you kind of make it up to someone. Restitution. Yeah, I'll go one further. I'll see your restitution, and I'll raise you an extreme unction. You ever heard of that? An extreme unction?
Yeah.
Is that like you got loads of monks and then you have an extra unction?
No, extreme unction.
Oh, sorry. Extreme deafness.
Extreme unction. Yeah, I'm thinking, God.
Oh, God, you don't get much unctioning to the pound these days,
Not many, mister.
No.
Don't try and out religious me, mate. I tell you, the Catholics.
No,
the
sorry,
Catholics
I'm taking on an Irishman. Irishman at one remove, but yes. Well, I went to see a play once. You'll know the play, Once a Catholic. You familiar with that?
No, I'm not. Who's that?
Well, oh gosh. Anyway, it's a comedy, but you can complete the sentence: once a Catholic, always a Catholic, and it's a comedy, but it's bittersweet. I think you have to say. We used to sing. I mean, I'm from the other side of the fence, the other side of the aisle. Raised as a C of E or Protestant.
Or Church of Emptiness, as we call it.
Oh, right. Thanks for that. Anyway, we used to sing a hymn at school. No, not remotely. And there's no hatred or rivalry to this day.
Oh, no. You ever been to Northern Ireland?
We are superior. Yes, every sperm is sacred. Yes, that comes to mind. Anyway, you put me right off me.
Stride.
Stroke there.
Stroke.
What was I going to say? Me stroke, me stride, I'm not sure which it is now. Which side of the fence am I on? You turn me into an honorary Irishman when I speak to you. Mr. O'Connor. I will, in a sec. We used to sing a hymn called God Be in My Head. So I feel I should write a play, Once a Protestant, because it's, it never leaves you, even though I'm an atheist. I'm a kind of Protestant atheist, if you know what I mean there.
Oh.
Right, okay, so there's this attempt as Bella confronts, or does she confront, Harley about what is really a bullying style.
So, Harley, Thanks for letting me come to speak to you today.
You're welcome. Glad I could squeeze you in around all the wedding planning.
There was a specific reason I wanted to talk to you, and it concerns the events surrounding my tattoo.
Okay.
Harley, 3 years ago this summer, my life changed forever. I've harboured strong feelings of hate and blame towards you, but now I realise that I can't live my life like that. I want to tell you that I no longer feel angry towards you. I forgive you. That's it.
Is this a wind-up?
No.
I don't know what to say. I mean, you did it to yourself, babe. Like...
Technically, but I think you can see that you didn't treat me very kindly on that trip.
I like a laugh. I'm not going to deny that. Honestly, Bella, if I'd known you didn't like a laugh, like...
Putting a chopped up jalapeno in my canister's not a laugh.
Oh my God, but it was though, wasn't it?
You're being a bit cruel now, Harley.
Oh my God. Is this because I didn't invite you to the wedding?
And that illustrates my point that I said that the cast, I think I could get on with in another scenario, because the character there that one of the women plays, I thought was really quite understated, believable, and well done. So kind of outside of that, the context of what I hate, as it were, or what I'm not enjoying, I found myself thinking, I quite enjoy that character. Do you know what I mean?
Which of the two are you calling understated? The Middlesbrough lass?
Yeah.
I'm thinking Middlesbrough, could be wrong with South Shields. I don't know.
She sounded like Gateshead to me, but I don't want to split hairs.
You reckon? You want to split Geordie's League?
I don't want to be too precise, but I'm thinking North Gateshead. God, don't call them a Geordie and Gateshead.
I'm thinking that road. What is it? By the park. Yeah. Okay, we should say producer Susie Grant. It's a BBC Studios production. And just in passing. Yeah, okay. Well, look, we need to motor on, and we know your overall view. But yes, I've got no doubt that you'll like these artists in another setting. And the writing is by the team we've called Lazy Susan, or they call themselves that, Celeste Dring and Freya Parker. And then, as I say, David Elms. And Cat Bond, sorry. Yes, two different shows, two slightly different casts. Shall we motor on to Volume 2 then, the second show? And here we've got a geezer. So this is an American perspective on, I suppose you could say, English stroke British eccentricity. And our man's problem in this show, so two clips from this separate episode, which is called Laugh. Laugh's the word, because it's his laugh which is getting between him and the ladies. Mick Tanner is his name, and in this clip he talks about his laughter problem and how he hopes to move things along by appearing on a reality TV show.
The laugh was loud, repetitive,
kind of awful.
Yeah,
just like really
drilled into your brain, into sort of the core.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I wasn't able to monetize my laugh with a ringtone or novelty pop single like Crazy Frog. But try as I might. I sent a few demos out actually, which were a real faff to track down and delete those, but made her off from my own back there.
At the time of our meeting, Mick was 1 week away from taking part in a TV dating show called Rapid Banter. It was the perfect place for him to debut his new laugh and hopefully find love.
Quick rundown of Rapid Banter. So there's an equal number of male and female contestants. The guys have square heads and muscles that look like they've been inflated with a bike pump. The women are tiny, and they smile with their mouths, but not their eyes. Everybody is orange.
The contestants were blindfolded, but for some reason, also in swimwear. They had 30 seconds to banter with each other. They then rate each other based on the strength of said banter.
Whoever gets the lowest rating on the bantometer is tossed into the sea, and they just have to swim to shore. They don't even arrange a car for you to go home in. You just have to get on the train wet, and they film all of this.
God, somebody take that glockenspiel off him, will you?
But it's meant to annoy you.
Oh, it does. It's well done.
Anyway.
It's done it. I warmed to this one a bit more, and I did like. I mean, the description of the show there was part of me that's thinking, oh my God, they're going to make this. I can.
The Rapid Banter show. Yeah.
I could hear a TV executive just taking notes.
ITV2.
This is a good idea. Yeah, Keith Lemon could host this. This would be quite a good one. So I did warm a bit, and like you're saying, Nick Mohammed was like a kind of lighthouse in this for me, really. I just think his delivery is so funny and so natural. But yeah,
sorry, I'm going to ask the basic question. He's the American character.
Nick Mohammed,
is he?
No, he's the guy. He's the guy with the laugh, the funny laugh.
All right. See, I can't pick him out. You're much more attuned to Mr. Mohammed as a member of his fan club. Clearly.
Yeah, fully paid off. Yeah. But yeah, so this is slightly better, but again, I'm still dragged down by my own bigotry.
Retard? No. Bigotry. I think it's trigotry or trigonometry. One of the two. Well, shall we not draw out the pain and motor on to our fourth and final clip? Is that sensible? Surely you can't argue with that.
Did you enjoy this episode or the previous episode more? Did you, if you had to pick one out of the other?
I would struggle. I would genuinely struggle.
You'd enjoyed them equally?
Slight preference for Tattoo.
Okay.
You know me and female voices. Obviously, there were male voices in both, but as a central character, no, I'm slightly sending myself up, as you might see me, but I particularly liked the accents of Bella and Harley in the previous episode we slept.
Right. Okay.
I wasn't, unlike you, I wasn't quite so taken by the Mick Tanner character. I can see now that it makes more sense because that's more a home accent, isn't it, for your man Nick Mohammed?
Yeah, I guess so. Is he from the north east?
Is he Leicester?
I thought is he a Leicester lad?
Is it?
I thought he was.
I don't know.
I thought he was Yorkshire or somewhere like that. But
yeah, that's probably it. So yeah,
I always think he's from Stoke. Whenever I hear him, I always think he's got a bit of a soft Stoke accent. But I don't think. I think he's Yorkshire kind of. I think I'm not sure anyway. But yeah, go on.
Okay, so we're going to have a fourth and final clip. We stay, of course, with our man with the laugh. Now, you just know you can't set up a show talking about a problem laugh. And I should have said in the previous setup, but I think you'll have worked it out, being a smart member of our listening audience, that he's gone for laughter therapy. And we're going to hear a bit of the ongoing laughter therapy now. You just know at some point this show is going to have to tackle what the problem laugh is. And I quite like the way, again, getting slightly technical, they've structured it to keep you waiting quite a while. And I've kept you waiting, frankly. So without further ado, let's eavesdrop on some laughter regression therapy. There's a slight complication, but it's also an extra comedic richness. Our American so-called journalist, one of the podcasters, is also engaging in this laughter regression therapy because it becomes clear he's got a problem with long-term relationships or lack of. And
starting one at all by the sound of it, isn't it, I think?
Well, I think so, yes. Yeah. Okay. And the therapist is female and she is Eastern European. I don't know whether they say she's Polish, but that's half the fun, the very fact that there is a laughter regression therapist. So let's eavesdrop on the process. And I should just add, in a wonderful phrase from the script, Mick Tanner is from the historic airport town of Luton.
Now, we don't want to wake the boys.
Oh, blimey, it feels great to be 1 year old.
It was pretty obvious to me that Mick was pretending to be regressed and forcing his laugh. I tried to confer with Eric. Psst, Eric. Oh, wow.
Oh, look. Little baby Eric is trying to get his foot in his mouth.
That's proper funny.
Oh, Mick, what is happening? You sound like a monkey who's been thrown down a well.
So finally, we heard it. I still held my deep-seated belief that you shouldn't change for anyone,
As did I.
but I was starting to question it.
As was I.
Because realistically, who could pull that laugh off? Who could wear it with confidence?
They kind of did allude to this, didn't they, as well? They kept mentioning Crazy Frog. All the way through the episode, and then because lo and behold, when his laugh turned up, it did sound a bit like Crazy Frog, didn't it? Really,
Yeah.
Slightly better for me, but I still struggled with the treatment. Really, I think that was the problem. I think it belies a bigger problem that Radio 4 commissioning has. And I tried to get some figures, but they didn't actually produce it. I couldn't actually find out. I was be interested to see how many comedy programs they commission from Edinburgh, from the Fringe. And I think they do it too much. I think they just go to Edinburgh and go, oh, that one can be a show, that one can be a show, that one can be a show.
Is this an example of that then?
Yeah. This is where this comes from. And I think it's a problem. I think it's a problem because they've got this block about spending. You know, you have to spend time, don't you, to produce a decent comedy. And you know, they think they're trying to go and buy it off the shelf at the Edinburgh Fringe rather than spending the time with unknown writers. And so they either have stuff that comes from Edinburgh or established writers. I think that's the impression I get.
Right. Well, to me, that gives me more respect for it because I don't know how you would present a podcast in front of a live comedy audience in a setup like the Edinburgh Festival or the Fringe Festival. I hear what you say, and I'm really not defending it because I do some work for the BBC. I genuinely like it. I think they have worked hard on it. Neither of us knows, without seeing what the Edinburgh version was, how much work in adaptation has gone into it. But I think, blimey, if you can pull off a podcast send-up in front of a live audience, that really is something. I'm not sure it would work for me as a member of a live audience, but it certainly works for me as a listener, because obviously these podcasts are studio-based, the ones they're sending up in America. Very much studio-based. And they also, by the by, they get that thing whereby two journalists, as they call themselves, and I'm never quite convinced that everyone who calls themselves a journalist really qualifies, because they're kind of... Yeah, I know.
No, you're right.
That sounds horrible. Right. Yeah.
I often think that.
Certainly in the States where, well, I mean, their definition is a bit wider. I mean, if you look it up in the dictionary, a journalist is someone who keeps a journal. So, you know, as long as you keep a journal, anyone can call themselves a journalist.
Yeah. I look at the writing online if I look at Sky News, for example, you look at some of the way stories are written, and you think, okay, they must keep a journal.
They're a blogger, really, aren't they? They're a blogger.
Yeah.
Anyway. I suppose we shouldn't draw out the pain for you any further than necessary. I think we've said all we need to.
Can I say? And the other thing is, I didn't come away hating it in the sense that, you know, I bear it no malice, and
not.
You know, it wasn't that kind of emotion. I felt a bit sad about it all, really, because I thought I just couldn't get on board with it. You know, like if you sat in a room and everybody's cheering somebody on stage. Like a band or something, and you think, well, I don't think they're very good. I don't like them. It doesn't appeal to me. You don't feel animosity. You feel, oh, I'm not getting into this. I'm not part of it. And that's how I kind of felt with it, really. So it wasn't painful in that sense. I did feel myself. I had to kind of rewind it a bit and I was drifting off, and you know, wondering what my room would look like painted teal and stuff like that.
The old teal gag. Going back a few episodes.
So there was that right. About. But yeah, I can't. And like I say, you know, I'd be quite prepared to sit down and listen if there was another vehicle for Lazy Susan. I think, you know, some of the voice characterizations, despite getting right on my wick, were well done nevertheless. So you know, you kind of can see behind the curtain a bit with that one. But yeah, so
Yeah.
but no, it wasn't. I didn't come away thinking, ugh. But I wouldn't listen to another episode if I could possibly avoid it.
Well, you possibly can.
Do you want me numbers?
Yes, we can't avoid, as we do on every comedy slab, each giving it stars out of 5. And I'm bracing myself. I've assumed crash positions for your mark out of 5.
I'd give it a 2. I was going to give it 1.5.
I can't pretend I wasn't expecting something on the low side.
I'd give it a 2, and I wouldn't want to give it a 1 because, as you say, there's a lot of work gone into it, and like I say, just because of my prejudices doesn't mean that it's rubbish. It just means that my score reflects that I couldn't get into it, kind of thing. So
yeah,
I couldn't really give it any more than a 2.
Well, I have to give it 3.5.
Oh, that's lower than I thought, actually, for you.
Yeah, well, I'm umming and erring internally. I think one of the things is... No, it's all the things I've said about it. I think it's a personal thing. I just find both stories a bit too sad. Well, particularly the tattoo one. Although I did say I slightly preferred it. So hey, I'm a mess of contradictions.
No, you're right though. They were quite dour.
They're about lonely people, aren't they?
Yeah, they're about sad, lonely people. Lonely people, yeah.
As we've often said, you've got to have an essential tragedy, whichever form of words we use to say, comedy is underscored by tragedy. That's one of the strange things. And I still wrestle with that after all these years, which is partly why I'm fascinated by it, because I don't fully understand it. And why does it work? And what, But I think the ability to laugh is a major life force, if I can use that term. I'm very close to giving it a 4. If it was on that old term production values, it would definitely be a 4.
It was nice to put together, yeah.
Yeah.
Even that flaming glockenspiel.
But you're meant to be annoyed by the flaming glockenspiel.
Do you know, I haven't said the word glockenspiel since I was at school.
And now you've said it 2 or 3 times in the same show.
Well, I've got a lot of ground to make up.
Well, I'll leave you saying it to yourself. I'm still wondering whether I should give it a 4. If I could give it 3 3/4, but you won't let me do that.
No,
so,
you're just getting ridiculous now.
Yeah.
3.5?
Yes, but if it's possible to say a generous 3.5, it's coming from a position, as you've gathered, of huge respect. And and if it was on the radio again, very happy to hear any other additions, unlike your mean, small, petty... No, you're less generous.
But at least I'm self-aware enough to know that that's what I am. I would wash up in silence. Rather than
okay. Would you? Well, that says it all.
I'd rather listen to the bubbles bursting.
No. Washing up is only possible thanks to the medium of radio or some podcast equivalent or podcast sender.
I listen to audio books. It's weird, isn't it? On my audio book, I want to watch it.
Your one subscription, as we've learned. So, to next week's homework, what have you got for us? What's the recipe today, Jim?
By the way, if you want to see, as Adrian rightly said, if you want to catch where you can get that from, it is on BBC Sounds. But I put a link on, so it makes it easy. All you have to do is click. You lazy devil! Is that you can't even be bothered to go and type in BBC Sounds? And
but then they're going to curse us. Those people listening more than 2 or 3 weeks into the future.
That's true. They let them curse. Right, for next week, I don't know if I'm pushing my luck here.
Oh dear, that's not an inspiring phrase.
I don't know if I'm pushing my luck with this one. I don't know. How are you on animation?
Animation on the radio, less successful, I would conjecture.
Never caught on, did it?
No. Well, it didn't. They animated Ricky Gervais's early podcast, didn't they?
Oh yeah,
that was an interesting experiment.
But animation on the radio never caught on, did it? It didn't.
No.
Go on.
No. I'm sympathetic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you might
put the pathetic into sympathetic.
You might like, and I looked on IMDb just to see what it was listed as.
Why?
And it's listed as an animated action comedy. Started in 2009, and it revolves around an agent fighting the forces of evil, named Archer, and that's the name of the series as well. It's now in its 10th series, I think.
What, a theatrical agent?
No, he's a theatrical
agent.
fighting the forces of evil.
Well, they're called actors, aren't they?
You've been seeing some sights around the West End, haven't you?
I sure have. I'm too in the system, darling. I'm compromised.
So we will represent
estate
you.
agent.
We will represent you, Mr. Lacey. Yes, but how are you on fighting the forces of evil? Are you on?
I'm a warrior. Or do I mean a warrior?
Yeah. Anyway, you can see this on. I'm not sure. I think if you've got Sky, it's on the FX channel. But you can actually download and buy the episodes on Netflix and Google Play, and YouTube. You know, YouTube do this thing where you can buy episodes as well. But I thought, because neither of us, I've watched bits of an episode before, but I've never seen it in its entirety. So I thought we'd better go to Series 1, Episode 1.
Oh, that old ploy.
Which was way back
of the Archers.
Don't listen to the Archers.
That's going back a bit.
Oh, Eddie! I'm going down the bottom field. There wasn't a secret agent in it. I don't know what you...
And I can't find the recordings from 1946.
They kept going off to Lower Loxley. Was that their HQ? I'm not quite sure.
I don't think they had BBC Sounds back then, after the war.
No, after the war. Yeah. Back to 2009, the first ever episode of Archer, the animated action comedy. There you go. How's that grab you?
Well, I don't know until I listen. I'm going to sit on the fence for now. Episode 1 of Series 1. I know, I'm intrigued. I really will be coming to this 100% fresh because I've never heard of it.
Okay.
So it's an educational show for me, certainly.
I think
lovely.
We've had quite a run of me not liking yours and you not liking mine, so...
Yeah. Should we continue it?
I think we should.
Why break a habit of a lifetime?
Interesting to see, won't it?
Okay, look, I'll give you my view now. I absolutely hated it, and I haven't even listened. Prejudice. Yeah, that's me. Okay, shall I do social meds? Are we at that point of the show? Just quite simply, we are at Comedy Slab on the Twitter and on the Facebook page, sort of thing.
If you'd like to subscribe to the podcast, you can. You're welcome. We'd love you to. Please do. Don't make me beg. Don't make me cry again like last week.
Oh, make him beg. Make him beg. It's more fun. I like seeing the tears.
Just head off to, probably Spreaker is, in the first instance, is your best bet because that's where it lives. But, of course, you can get it from all the other podcast places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and the like as well.
And we would love you to recommend us to friends, family, religious leaders, cult figures, pop stars, anyone in your orbit or out of it. And talking of which, as we speak, we're close to the Apollo 50th anniversary, landing on the moon, all of that. Do you get excited about that, or are you as unexcited as you were about the show we've just slabbed?
I did until I saw the headline, next person on the moon should be a woman. And I thought, this is what we've become in this.
To a bull.
This is what we've become in this country now.
People.
Do you know,
people.
If we had another war or attempted another moon landing, I don't think we have the civilization that we had back in the 1950s to be able to do it, to be honest with you. But yeah, no, it kind of passed me by. It was more my brother's generation. He's older than me. And everything, all his toys are all moon. He was moon mad.
Right.
Because he was around.
Well, that's where we get the word lunatic from, of course.
Exactly. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to, just in case he listens.
Right, well, I'm going to get overexcited about it, and indeed I'm making a podcast about it, so you can't stop me. That's my rival solo project, londonpodcast.net. It is the London Podcast, but hey, as you know, I never self-promote. There's one more thing to say, which is a generous star rating on the Tunes of I or Apple Podcasts, call it what you will, would be hugely appreciated. Otherwise, I'm going to mince to the East Coast, maybe do a bit of spot of fishing near Martha's Vineyard, something like that. What about you?
Oh, from me, I should just be spending the rest of the day saying Glockenspiel.